How can we implement the Akashic Records with therapy clients? They're saying many, 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 many ways, a multitude of ways, countless ways. Because you, many of you, all of you, will create new way after new way after new way after new way. For as long as IFS and the Akashic Records and the same exist in the same paradigm, the same timeline, a multitude of ways will be created. And when they're saying that, they're saying being created from your heart. They're saying some in the spur of the moment, some with the assistance of the Akashic Records, some with the assistance of the mind, some with the assistance of the client and what they need or what they're asking for. Some with just the energies converging, creating a new experience or a new outcome. Okay, and then they're saying one of many ways is this. So they're saying you can open your own records. They're saying 10 or 15 minutes before a session. They're saying if you have the time, you can do it earlier than that. Ideally, you would do it about 10 or 15 minutes before the session. And ask, what is it that I need to know today for this session with this client? Ask and you shall receive what is in the highest good of you and your client. You and your client, you and your client, you and your client. That when they say and, it brings me to my heart space. And then I'm noted when I said that, I noticed like it's bringing me awareness of the client's heart space. And it's like they're saying tethering between the two heart spaces, bringing you together and benefiting you both, uplifting you both. And they're showing kind of pushing each other along their paths, not in a, how do you want me to say this? Not in a like pushy pressure way, but like a gentle offering of a nudge if the other one wants to accept it. And they're really emphasizing wants to accept it. Really, really emphasizing that if they want to accept it. It's an offer. It's just an offer. It's an offer of like, hey, I'll give you this supportive nudge if you want it. And they're saying if all of you wants it, the entirety of you. Yeah, they're just saying ask for the guidance. What is in your highest good to know for you and in this and your client in this session? Ask and you shall receive. What is in the highest good for you to know? The highest good for you and the highest good for your client. Always for the highest good of you both. And always for the highest good of those connected to that experience. I mean, and they're just showing like after session, you know, going and seeing other people or going home to the animals or whatever it is that you're doing afterwards. And they're just showing how that impacts the other people based on how some, you know, a part that was connected to or a shift that occurred in the system or whatever it is that did or didn't happen in session and how that has an impact, you know, on the rest of the day and the people that you're around and all of that. Any questions?
I guess how do we access that information?
What would you like to tell her? They're saying it's already in your heart. You already have this connection. You all have this connection, whether you realize it or not. You're always connected to it. Again, they're showing me the image from the question earlier about listening to the heart and the confusion. And they're saying oftentimes there is confusion up, or there's just thinking parts, or there's questioning parts, or they're even showing like, being distracted by the things around you. And they're just talking about there's all these other things that can be up, but you always have access to this, even if you don't see any of the dots, even if you don't see it for what it is. You all have access to this. You all have access to this. You all have access to this. Come into your heart and access it from within here. That's so funny. They said, and yes, the teacher that Emmy will recommend is also recommended by us for those who feel called to that teacher. They're saying beneficial, not required. There is no path that is required for anyone. You can all learn this in whatever way works for you. They're really emphasizing in whatever way works for you. They're saying follow your heart in how you learn this. Whether you just play with it on your own, or they're talking about taking a certification course. And what I see is a very diligent student who's sitting there with their books and their paper, they're taking notes, and they're really, really a diligent student. Or if you're just like playing around and just doing it for fun on a whim when you feel like it, and you're really doing it as just play, or you're doing it on your own, but you're setting timers and days, or any other way that you would like to do it, with or without a teacher, or with or without practice partners. However, it's entirely and completely up to you. They're saying do it in a way that brings joy to your heart. They're saying that is absolutely essential. They're saying if you choose to do it in a hard way, that's your choice. They respect that. They're saying they support it. They're saying they support it because there are things to learn from it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have chosen it. And when you can learn it from a place of joy, absolutely hone in on that. Do it from that place. Highly, highly recommended, but not required. Not required, not required, not required.